You're listening to Ideal Practice, episode number 152. Today, I decided it was time to take a broader look at social media. What it is, how it works, what you need to know in order to make good use of it for your practice, and how to make the whole concept, the whole idea of marketing on social just all around easier. Yeah, that's a good thing, right? Well, my guest, Berlyn Komar, had a lot to say on the matter and a ton of ideas that I think you'll appreciate. So, stay tuned. Hi, I'm Wendy Pitts-Reeves, and with over 2 decades of experience in the private practice world, I've built my 6-figure business while learning a lot of lessons the hard way. This is the first podcast that shows you how to apply the principles of energy, alignment, and strategy to build a practice that is profit-centered, but people-forward. This is the Ideal Practice Podcast. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Ideal Practice Podcast. This is Wendy Pitts-Reeves, your host. And of course, I'm happy to be here with you. You know I am. And in today's conversation, you will hear me talk a little bit about how happy I am to be here with you. Our guest today is Berlyn Komar. And I had to ask her, is it Berlyn? Her name is Berlyn. And I had to say, is this like Berlin, like the city? Or is it Berlyn, like Merlin, the magician? Well, that's where it is. So Berlyn is a seasoned digital marketing strategist and founder of Planted Marketing. Now, that's a full-service agency that specializes in organic content marketing for people like you and me, purpose-driven brands. With over a decade of experience, she has helped countless small businesses and solopreneurs like us grow by building, this is the key word, authentic, unquote, quote unquote, marketing strategies. She has also founded The Greenhouse. You'll hear her talk about that. That's a membership community that provides affordable, hands-on marketing support for small businesses who, solopreneurs who are challenging or navigating the challenges of DIY marketing. And, I know a lot of y'all try to do this on your own. With enough education, which you can get, you can learn how to do that. And I think some of the things that she's going to suggest today will give you some really good ideas about where you can go with this. Berlyn is passionate about empowering entrepreneurs like you and me. She combines strategic expertise that's obvious today. It was obvious. She has that. She brings that to the table along with a creative, values-driven approach to business growth. And y'all know I'm all about being in alignment, right? I want you to do practice. I want you to do business in the way that works for you. That includes your marketing, and that includes any kind of social media you might want to try. So you're going to learn a lot today. I think this is really good. I found it really helpful. Some of this I was familiar with. Some of it was new to me. And I took a lot of notes, even though I was the one asking the questions. So without further ado, let's get in to the interview. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to another episode of the Ideal Practice Podcast. I'm so happy that you are here with me today, because today we're going to tackle a subject that all of you have some vague idea you should be doing. And I don't know that that's necessarily true, but if you are, we're going to talk about how to do it in a way that works better for you. You've already heard this in the intro. We're going to be talking about social media and all the stuff that goes along with that. So with that, let me go ahead and bring on my guests. Y'all say hello to Berlyn Komar, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hi.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Welcome. So good to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To talk about social media. I know a lot of people feel overwhelmed, so we are going to take all of that away today.
Love that. I'm going to make it easy for people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I didn't tell you this, but I was looking at your LinkedIn profile earlier, and I really do want to highlight this, Berlyn, before we even get started. You have a post on LinkedIn that I just stumbled on earlier today, and you said, your brand is more than a business. It's a belief system. And when your market reflects that, people don't just notice, they rally. I love that. I love that. I won't read the whole post. Y'all, I'm going to tell you, before we even get started, I'm going to tell you to go look her up on LinkedIn, because she, right off the bat, she's got some stuff here that will make you think differently about what it means to market your practice at all, and how to show up in the world in a more cohesive and aligned way. I'm going to say that before you even know her. So go look her up on LinkedIn. We'll have that in the show notes. All right, Berlyn, enough about that. Tell everybody, where are you? I love that part, just for my own sake. And then who do you help and how do you help them?
Yeah, so I'm in Orange County, California, in Costa Mesa, if anybody's familiar. And I have two sort of businesses right now. So I have Plant and Marketing, which is a full service agency. I love to work with purpose-driven brands. And that's more full service. So I'm taking everything off the plate for my clients there. And that really, I specialize in content marketing and community building and using the brand's voice and values. So kind of just exactly that post that you just read. That's like really what we specialize in doing.
Yeah.
And then earlier this year, I started the greenhouse. So I really love helping solopreneurs and small businesses who may not have the budget, but I still feel like everybody deserves support in some way or another. So I started this community to help teach. I share everything that I know so that people can feel more confident in doing their own marketing, and they're supported along the way.
Okay. And that's a new venture for you, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. So the greenhouse and planted marketing, there's obviously a theme here. So the greenhouse is like a community. Is that like what it is? An online community? Okay. Where
Yep.
people can learn from you inside the community how to do this on their own.
hmm
If you're looking for sort of a lower entry point into figuring some of this stuff out, which is always helpful. That's really helpful from people who are just getting started. But you also have this full service marketing agency where you do all of the things. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's intriguing. Okay. And is social media one of several ways that you work with people, or is that the primary way? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's one of several ways that I work with people, but it's also like a primary service. So it's something that's pretty much recurring through all of my clients because
Yeah.
in some way or another, which we'll talk about, like all the different platforms and stuff, but I think it's a great entryway to either like grow your brand awareness or to nurture your audience. So we'll talk more about that too.
Okay. Okay. So I have to ask, like, how the heck did you get into this? Why social media? Why marketing? Because that's not something most of us love. So
Oh,
how
yeah.
did you land here? Yeah.
Yeah, so my background is in photography, and I've been doing this for over 10 years now. And I got started doing content creation for small businesses. And so, small businesses need one person to wear a lot of hats. So that just kind of kept adding things to my plate. They're like, oh, can you do Instagram? Can you do this and this? And I was like, I'll learn how to do it. So I taught
I don't know.
myself.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah. Which also, like, 10 plus years ago, posting on Instagram was very different and easy and fun. So it wasn't as much of a challenge as it is these days. But I just kept adding more things to my plate, and I really loved still being able to be creative, but helping other people like grow. So it felt very fulfilling. Whereas like photography, it was just like, okay, this is super fun, but like
Hmm.
I'm not really giving back, or there's just something missing.
Hmm.
So I just ran with that and taught
That's
myself
interesting.
virtually everything, and have been doing it ever since.
Huh. Okay. So you already had sort of a creative bent anyway. You love
hmm
creating and making, and I'm guessing seeing beauty, finding ways to capture that. But it sounds like there's a service piece of this or a social piece of this that has more to do with probably your own value system and
hmm
how you want to show up in the world. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Isn't it something how you're not looking for something and you just sort of stumble into it and you're like, oh, I actually like this. Who knew
Yeah.
that? Right? I can so
It feels
relate to
like
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. It feels lucky. I mean, I am self-taught, but I did go to school for a while. I have a lot of student debt, and eventually I was like, okay, this is dumb. I'm able to do everything that I want. I'm able to build a career. I can teach myself, and it's going really well. So it's great that
Mm,
you can just kind of like stumble into what you're passionate about.
for real. Totally. I get that too. Yeah, that's beautiful. All right. So talk to us about social media. Um, I think maybe a good place to start is like, what are some of the things that what are some of the, what are some of the things that we get wrong about social media when we think about what we should do and what we have to do, what it means when you run all of my people are practice owners of
Mhm.
some sort. It may be a massage practice, it may be a energy healing practice, maybe a psychotherapy practice, and it might just be them in a sort of a solopreneur kind of thing, or they may be part of a large group. You never know. But social media tends to be like, I have coaching clients who will say to me often, I know I need to be out there. I know that I need to put something on Facebook. I know I should be on Instagram, but I don't even know what to say. What are we getting wrong right off the bat in terms of how we approach social media? What are some of the myths and mistakes that we're making?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. I would say what we're getting wrong is one, like listening to all of the marketing shoulds, right? So the most important thing to remember is that you are a solopreneur. You are not a marketing agency, so you cannot
Mm,
literally follow all of the advice that you're told that you should be doing. So you can't be on every single social platform and doing blogs and newsletters and this and that and this. Like it's too much for one person, and that's what causes that initial like overwhelm and burnout and like,
yeah.
"Ooh, I'm not going to do this."
Yeah.
Um, so I think one, just like figuring out where you feel the most comfortable, and just sticking with that and being really consistent and keeping with it, knowing that either one, it's like going to build your brand awareness. So are you going to use this as an outreach tool to like let people know that you exist, that you off like what you offer, that you're here, whatever, or are you going to use it as like a nurturing tool? So you're
Mm,
just talking about networking, and that's how I use my Instagram. So I do post a lot, but I've never gotten a client from Instagram. I've never gotten anything, but I do a lot of work in networking. I'm in a lot of groups. So I'm using my Instagram just to nurture those relationships that I've built through networking.
through online networking, you're talking
Yeah.
about digital
Yeah.
networking.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
How?
I'm,
How do you do that? How do you use Instagram to nurture your online networking relationships?
yeah. So I do post stuff like about what I do, all of that kind of thing, like advice, blah, blah, blah. But that's just kind of to keep me relevant into the minds of people that I've connected with. So I'm always engaging with their content, their stories, their posts. We're talking in the DMs. I'm just like keeping those relationships going because, when you meet people online in like networking groups, you maybe chat with them one on one and then like you never speak to them again, right? Like my network
Right.
CRM has over 100 people in it, but I use Instagram to really nurture those relationships that I want to like, we could refer each other or we could work together in some way. So just kind of using it as a tool to like keep your relationship top of mind with them.
How do you tag them in an Instagram post, or do you respond to them on let's
Yeah.
say you meet somebody in a Facebook group or a LinkedIn group and you have a DM conversation with them, then where do you bring in Instagram in to that?
Mm. So if we're following each other on Instagram, and this is after like we've done like a coffee chat, like a virtual coffee chat, a conversation
Good.
just like this. So we've already face to face chatted. We know a little bit about each other. We're going to follow each other on Instagram. And then from there, I'm going to be commenting on their posts, just building conversation
Got
any
it.
I can.
Okay. 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 That makes sense. Okay. I was just curious, like, what does that
Yeah.
mean, literally?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't tell you this, but I will from time to time either interrupt something you're saying and highlight it because I want to make sure people capture it. I'm also going to ask questions when I don't understand myself because I'm
Oh,
like,
good
I
question.
think I know this, but I don't know that I know this. So, okay. So, so one of the mistakes we make is thinking that we have to do it all And so we don't
Mm-hmm.
do any of it.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of a myth, do you think a practice owner needs to be on all the major platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever X is these days, and what else? Instagram, like the biggies, Facebook, Instagram. I think of Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, but I'm also beginning to hear again about Pinterest again, which I haven't heard about in a long time. I'm beginning to hear about that. There's TikTok. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know whatever else is out there that's coming that I'm not even aware of, but like, what do we need to think about when it comes to social media?
Yeah. So one, just really initially thinking about like where your audience is. So if you're working with mostly like professionals, like LinkedIn is a really good place for that. If you TikTok is a really great place to reach people. The algorithm is so specific. So if like creating videos is something that you're interested in, doing using TikTok is a great resource for you,
Mm.
because it'll go to exactly who it needs to go to. I don't know how it works. We probably don't want to know how it works, but it works. So that's a really great resource. Instagram, again, it's harder these days to like find people. So I like to use Instagram for like this audience in particular as a way to like just kind of maintain your presence. So maybe you're posting twice a week, just to kind of keep your Instagram alive, because when people are searching for people in this field, they're gonna like check you out. They're gonna scope you out everywhere
Yes, they
online.
are. They sure
So
are.
Instagram is going to be where they go, and it just kind of adds like a more legitimacy to your name if you just kind of see that there's posts from this person. So I like to kind of use Instagram as more of like just hey, I'm existing, I'm real kind of a thing.
It is true if you're thinking, especially for therapy, if you're thinking
Hmm.
about hiring a therapist, you're going to go scope them out and figure out everything you can, learn about them online, right? Of course,
Yeah.
we all do that. We cyberstalk people. Tell me, don't, you're lying if you tell me you don't do that. So your presence online is one way that people can get a sense of you
Hmm.
before they reach out to you, and they're nervous. They're nervous and they don't know how to move forward and they don't know what to do. And
Hmm.
they've seen your name somewhere or heard your name somewhere and they kind of want to get a sense of you. So that speaks to the why. I'm thinking about, you've already talked about two important things here. One
Hmm.
is the why, the purpose. Why do you want to post at all? What's the job? You said, is it
Hmm.
to sort of stake a claim about something that you believe or something that your practice stands for or something that you stand for? Or is it
Hmm.
about nurturing leads, nurturing relationships, something like that? Maybe both.
Yeah.
Are there other purposes? Are there other reasons why that I'm not thinking about that social media does?
I would say those are the two biggest in this, like for your audience in particular. Really just helping establish like who you are and what you're about so people can get familiar with you. And
Yeah.
then to nurturing, um, yeah, your connections that you've made.
You know, there's an obvious piece to this that we don't tend to think about, but once you have an established presence online, it's also where you can go to advertise your programs, services,
Mhm.
workshops. You're leading a retreat. You're going to be giving a talk somewhere. You're going to start a parenting work group, whatever. Like it is also for overt, for real marketing, making an
Yeah.
announcement about something you're going to do, which we tend to, that's the ultimate. Like, you know, you do all this other stuff up front. Then when you're
Yeah.
ready to make a sale or an offer, it's
Hmm.
come a way where you can make an offer. That's the purpose. That's the why. Then you were talking about the platform, the where,
Hmm.
right? And you just said something that I want to question. You said Instagram is where most people go, and so you want to keep that alive. And I thought I don't do Instagram at all, right?
Yeah.
So does that mean I'm making a mistake by not being on Instagram? Put you on the spot here.
Mhm. Well, here's the thing. If you feel confident about your business, like so many people just completely live off referrals and they're like thriving and they're like, oh, but I'm not on Instagram. I'm like, okay, but if your business is good, you don't have to be on Instagram.
Right.
Um,
If
I
it's
just
working,
saw
it's working.
somebody, yeah.
Yeah.
somebody like griping about TikTok the other day and how it wasn't working for them, but their sales are good. So I'm like, okay, then who cares if TikTok isn't working for you? You don't need it. So yeah, if you are finding success in other ways, like you don't have to be on social media at all.
Hmm. Well, one of the things I've always heard is to think about where your audience hangs out,
Hmm.
which I think you just said something like this. So if your audience, if your target audience, your ideal clients tend to be professionals, white collar professionals, accountants, architects, attorneys, then I've always heard then you might spend more time on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
If your audience are, college age folks, 20s to 35, maybe who are just getting started in life or just out of college or just getting started with their family, maybe Instagram and TikTok is where you want to be. If
Hmm.
you're dealing with, 45 to 60-year-old moms, maybe
Hmm.
Facebook is where you want to be. Is that decent advice, or am I wrong to think that way? Kind
Yeah.
of what I've always heard.
So you definitely want to think about like I think like age ranges are kind of getting very gray on the social platforms. I think you're right about like if you're speaking to more of a professional audience, then you want to go to LinkedIn. But that only keeps like if that's the kind of content that you want to create as well. So like
Yeah.
it really depends on what you want to create and how that aligns with you, and then picking a platform for that. Because really your audience is going to be everywhere, right? You're going to find people anywhere you go. So I
Yeah.
want to think about like what are the types of content that I like to create? How is this easier for me? Do I like to write posts? Do I like to design graphics?
Ah.
Do I like to make videos? So then choose a
Mm,
platform that aligns with that. And then two, think about how your audience likes to consume content. So um,
mm.
and where that aligns. So maybe your audience likes to read, and then that could be like maybe you're doing more blog posts or you're doing threads or like Twitter or whatever. Or if your audience likes to watch quick videos, then they're going to be on TikTok or Instagram Reels. So I don't really like to think about it in terms of like ages on platforms anymore,
Yep.
but what like how you like to create content and how your audience likes to consume content.
That's really good. I am remembering you said something like that when we talked before, because you said, I think this is right. You correct me if I'm wrong. I'm thinking you said something like, if you're a writer and you love to write, then
Hmm.
maybe blogging is your thing. If
Hmm.
you, if you're like, you don't forget that writing, that's too much work. I just want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Then YouTube might be your thing, or video,
Yeah.
however you choose. Am I right? Am I remember that? Yeah, because that's your
Yeah.
thing. But now you're saying not just so. First of all, think about what your own preferences are for
Hmm.
how you want to create, and then secondly, how your particular audience wants to consume, and
Hmm.
that drives the platform you're going to be on.
Hmm. Yeah.
Ah,
It's really the most important thing out of all the things. If you only take one thing away from this today, is that being consistent is the most important thing to do. And so if you find an outlet that you really like, whether it's writing, graphics, video, whatever, you're going to be really consistent with that. If you choose something that you hate to do, you're not going to want to do it.
amen.
So, so pick what you like to do and be so consistent with it, and then that's where you're going to see the success because it takes a long time to grow platforms anymore. It takes a long time to build an audience, and you really have to give it months, a year,
Hmm.
years. Like you have to stick with it. And so just do whatever it is that you like to do so that you can be consistent with it.
Now, if it's hard, you're not going to do it. So do something that
Mhm.
comes easy to you, that comes
Yeah.
natural to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really, really good advice. And that really does drive the platform. So
Mhm.
yeah, so that's a great point. And I can relate to that because I think I told you I had a blog, I had a weekly blog that I
Mhm.
wrote and published weekly for 7 years. And I'm a good writer. It was a good blog, but it took massive amounts of time because I'm obsessive about when I write. I'm really kind of ridiculous about it. And so what should have taken anybody else 2 hours would take me a whole day to do. But I stuck with it. And then I'm like, I was so over it. And then I gave YouTube a try because I'm a speaker and I love speaking. I've been in front of tons of audiences for many, many, many years, and I thoroughly enjoy that kind of connection you can have with an audience. And I thought, well, YouTube is kind of the same thing. It's just, right, turned out to be a massive amount of work for me personally anyway. And
Mhm.
I didn't click. It wasn't a good fit. It was there was something, the energy was off, and I don't know why, but it just didn't. And I gave it a fair try. This is, y'all, I'll tell you, I talk about experimenting, like so much about running a business is experimentation, right? I said, I'm going to do it for 1 year. I think I did 52 episodes or maybe 50. But I did it weekly for 1 year. And I was like, yep, that's not it.
Interesting.
Right. And gave it a fair try. And
Mhm.
then I discovered, and then I did podcasting. And I had people telling me I should try podcasting for a long time. And I'm a bit of a contrarian. And so I'm like, everybody's doing podcasting. I don't want to do what everybody else is doing, blah, 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 blah. But I kept getting that feedback. And when I finally jumped into podcasting, I was like, oh, here we go.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is it. It's so much more natural for me. It's like such a better fit for me. But it took me a while to figure out what was a good fit. So that's what you're suggesting.
Yeah. And like,
Hmm.
I love that journey. I love that you really gave time to each one because you really, I mean, maybe 7 years of blogging is a lot, but
Over the top.
but no, like giving it months or even a year, like multiple years is good. So it does take a long time to test. But once you find out, so like, okay, you love podcasting. Once you get in a really good flow of like where you are like enjoying whatever you're enjoying the most, then that's
Yeah.
when you can start to add in these different layers and like turning it into different outlets as well. So, okay, you have a podcast now after you're starting to get in a good rhythm of that, then you can start turning these episodes into blog posts. So, like, you can just
Mm.
take all of the text from the podcast, put that in a blog, and then that can be a newsletter. Or you can take all of these recordings and put those on YouTube. You can take these and turn them into clips for social media, for TikTok, Instagram,
Yeah.
Pinterest. So, or you can pull out like different sound bites for LinkedIn. So, like once you find what you really like to do and you feel comfortable adding in a new layer, it can all be repurposed for like any different platform.
That's great. You just rattled off quite a bit there. Yeah. Okay, so I'll use this is great, and I think I'll follow your lead, and we'll just use the podcast as an example. But you can do this with anything. So whatever your core piece of content, this is one way to make this easier.
Mhm.
I do want to highlight something you said. You said once you get into the flow.
Mhm.
So first of all, discover what fits you in terms of the style. Once you've got it, get your systems figured out, get your flow figured out, and y'all, that's a thing. This is my 3rd year of podcasting. And I basically spent the first year, I was just learning what the heck I was doing, how to talk, how to edit, how to plan, how to whatever. Last year, I spent almost the entire year working on the behind the scenes systems because it's a lot. To do this every week is a lot. And this year, we are ready to advance, right? We're beginning to grow a little bit and have new things we want to do with it. So what you're saying is figure it out what you want to do first, get into the flow, get it going so you know how to do it, and then take it to the next level. And the next level that I'm hearing you say is take a core piece of content and do other things with it. Okay. Can we go back through that and go a little slower?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So just with the podcast as an example,
Mhm.
I only do you and I are on Zoom. I see you. You're gorgeous. It's an awesome picture. I am not using that because I have not had the bandwidth to figure that out yet. I'm just doing audio because that's easy.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more I could be doing. That's what so coach me, Berlyn, coach me. Tell me what I should be doing with this thing podcast.
Understood. Yeah. Okay. So you're recording this. You have all the Zooms. You could easily just take that, put that onto YouTube, and use your same exact podcast description. Like, don't even put any more thought into it. Just upload it all into YouTube, video, podcast description, done.
So all the writing, all the copy that I would put in a podcast, like the show notes, put the
Mhm,
exact same thing in YouTube, take the exact same video
mhm.
and just pop it over there. And now I've
Yeah.
got the same content in 2 places without any more
Mhm.
work. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And then let's say you also want to turn that into blog content for SEO purposes. So you would take this video, transcribe it so you have the full text. Maybe just you could keep it the same, like as an interview format. So just kind of make it look better, like bold your questions and just, whatever. But keep
Yeah.
that all that text and just put it straight onto a blog post. And then you can even link back to the video or the podcast episode. So you're just, again, taking this whole everything that we've just done, there's very little extra work and putting it on a blog post.
Okay. I want to dig into that for a second. This is
Yeah.
super helpful. This is super helpful. Y'all, I'm going to use her for my own good, but you guys are going to learn the process. Okay. So, and here's a little side tip for you guys if you don't know this already. So there's lots of platforms out there for recording podcasts, and some of them have lots of bells and whistles. I stick with Zoom because it's easy. I'm familiar with it. I do have a good microphone, and I'm particular about sound, but the rest of it to me is kind of extra. So I have that. But when you record, if you do a Zoom call, like even a coaching call, anything you record, if you record it to the cloud instead of your computer. So when you go onto Zoom and it has the recording button at the bottom, if you hit record to cloud, it will automatically generate a transcript at no extra cost. Took me a while to figure that out. So yeah, so there's a little tip. But it is like a computer recording every word. So every the stumble, whatever. And it's a bit of a jumble, right? And what it does is it separates it based on our identity on the camera. So anytime I speak, it will say Wendy Pitts Reeves, blah, 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 blah. And then it will say Berlyn Komar, blah, 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 blah. When you said just clean up the transcript and put it as a blog post, I thought, oh, that's a lot of work because you have to read. And an hour's worth of talking is a lot of reading. But I bet you could use AI to make that easier.
You could, yeah. Or there are other tools, like I use an app called Descript,
I was going to say Descript. Yep. Yep.
which since that's its purpose, I think it'd probably be better than like the Zoom one. But either way, yeah, you could use AI, you could use a tool specifically for it. But yeah, there's like a little lift, but it's not like you're writing a whole blog post.
So Descript is a popular tool. I've played around with it a little bit. I haven't done a lot. I've done a little bit. In Descript, however you say it, could I take a raw transcript like this and dump it into that and it turn it into a blog?
Hmm. I'm not sure if I've played around with dumping in text to that. I would say AI would probably be the best tool for that. That's top of my head.
Okay. But you can have Descript running while you're recording and it's processing a transcript and it will do it in a cleaner way. And I think that's the tool where you can go into the written transcript and change a few words and it will change that in the audio as well. I'm pretty sure you can do that. If there's a sentence I want to cut out, rather than go through the audio or video and cut out every little thing you don't like, you can just go into the transcript in Descript and cut it out and it will edit that in the audio and video. I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I haven't played around a ton with it, but that's cool. I love that.
There you go. I'm helping you too. That's
Yeah.
good. I haven't done it because I have other ways of doing this stuff, but that is a good tool. That is a good tool. Okay. So original recording on Zoom. Take the audio from that, strip the audio, post that as a podcast. Take the video from that and put that on Zoom. And you don't really have to edit it. You can maybe put like a beginning and an end or trim it a little, but you can pretty much put the raw copy, unless it's terrible. You can put the raw stuff up on Zoom, on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then take the transcript, turn that into a blog post. Now you've got the same content 3 different ways. Awesome. Then what?
Now, okay, there's going to be a highlight, like key pieces and, that are really valuable information or pieces that are really good hooks. So if you want, you can look at it 2 different ways. If you want to drive traffic to your podcast or YouTube, you're going to pull out the hooks. If you want to just get social content to like grow your social, then you're going to pull out the valuable pieces. So those can be like 30 to 90-second clips, and you're taking the preferably the video content these days and then just turning that into like a reel or a TikTok post. But a lot of people do just the audio as well, and then they kind of add that, the graphic with like the audio little video thing. Do you know what I'm
Sound,
trying to say?
I do that. A sound bite. It's like a
Yeah, yeah,
visual. I do that because that's easy.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So you can just turn either of those pieces into social content, and depending on the length of your podcast, you can get tons of clips from that, right? So that would be the next step is pulling out social video content.
Wow.
Um, and then let's say do the same thing again. So you're transcribing that for LinkedIn posts or any like threads or any like text-based platform.
Short form text.
Yeah.
So would that be, so you would create basically, so out of the transcript, you
hmm
could pull out sections that could be almost like a quote, but you don't mean a quote though. It's a little bit more than a quote. You're not talking about a pull quote where you pull out a sentence or two.
hmm
You're talking about more like a little segment that you could turn into a Facebook post or a LinkedIn post.
Yep. And then again, driving them back to your podcast or YouTube, whichever you want to focus on.
I'm drawing a circle on my paper. So that's kind of cool. So y'all, what you're seeing, what she's talking about is if you go to the trouble to create one relatively, full bodied
hmm
piece of content that you put a little thought into, a little effort into, if you go to the effort to create it once, you can then break it down in multiple ways, and get much more bang for your buck,
hmm
in the process.
hmm Yeah.
It would take a system to be able to do that,
Yeah,
right?
that's why I say find your flow and then slowly add in as you feel comfortable. Don't like overwhelm yourself. That's the most important thing too, is like don't
Yeah,
overwhelm because then you won't do it.
right. Keep it simple, people. KISS
Yeah.
principle. Yeah, 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 yeah. Huh. Yeah, like we could have a whole conversation about just the system behind that. I'm
hmm
guessing that's part of what you do in your agency, Implanted Marketing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have like a way that you do that? Do you have? Can you give me like a Reader's Digest, like a simplified way? Like how would you organize yourself to be able to do those?
Mm. That's a good question. So we do focus on organic content marketing, which is exactly what we just talked about. So with my clients, we focus on one really major piece of content. Usually it's like a blog for them. And then we're just turning that blog into other pieces. So maybe that's turning that into a newsletter. So we do a lot of email marketing. We're turning that blog into a newsletter and then getting them back to the blog to read more. Um, or we're taking little bits of like, let's say the blog is about five, whatever, how to do this. And then
Mm-hmm.
we're going to shorten that into our social media. And then we're also going to turn that same topic into like our video topics for the month. So we have like 1 month where we're sticking to one theme essentially. And that's like where the blog comes in, and then that's going to be the really big piece of content. And then we're shortening it for social to kind of like get people like, oh, are you interested in this? Go read the blog. We're going to talk
Mm-hmm.
about that same topic in our videos. Hey, if you want to learn more, go read the blog, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of what we're doing every month is kind of sticking to one theme, making a really big piece of content, whether that's a blog or a YouTube video, and then just talking about that in our content throughout the month.
So, do you take one key piece of content and basically get a whole month's worth of traction out of it?
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive. Um, okay. So, just to follow the example you just said, five things are like, five keys to XYZ, whatever.
Mhm.
Five keys to healthier cooking, five keys, whatever, I don't know. Five keys to an easier social media presence.
Yeah.
Right? So you would start with one in-depth article of some sort that lays out all those five keys as a comprehensive piece, and that's hosted on your website. I do want to say something here, I think, and tell me if I'm right about this. something that I think we forget about. Social media has lots of purposes, but ultimately all of it is about getting people back to your website.
Yes.
That's something I think we didn't mention. I want to say that. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
You don't want people to just read about you on Instagram. You don't want them to you want to do something that drives them to your website, because your website you own, you
Mhm.
host, all of you is there, and that's bringing them into a relationship with you.
Mhm.
You honestly, this is kind of a bit off topic, but you can lose your social media stuff. Facebook can shut you down. That happens to people all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah. But you get them back. The goal is to get them to your website and get them on your list. That's really what the goal is ultimately.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you've got an article, 5 ways to enhance your social media practice. And then from there, you take that and you break that down into, what would it be? Each of those 5 points would become its own little mini article,
Yeah, you could
or
that way. Or you could just share like related content, so just kind of more tips, but just kind of anything to drive them back to read more. And then yeah, as you mentioned, that's a really great point that your social is not something that you own and it can go away at any moment. And we're also like at the hands of the algorithm. So getting people on your email newsletter list is where you'll
yeah,
really like deepen those connections.
yeah.
Um, so yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just thinking about all the ways that you would do what you just did. So you would create a little video, a little
Mhm.
short, maybe a short video, like a TikTok, or 2 or 3 minutes on
Mhm.
each one of those points, maybe. And you would sprinkle them out over the course of the month.
Mhm. Yeah.
You could pull the audio from that and have an audio clip, all
Mhm.
based from that same thing.
Yeah.
Huh.
All right. Now ready for the next layer?
Yeah. What's the next layer?
So the next layer is Pinterest, which I love talking about because not a lot of people think about it. But if you are doing blog content, having Pinterest goes hand in hand with that and is really important to gaining organic traffic. Um, so if you're doing anything on your
Maybe
website,
you're where I heard that when I said I'm hearing more about Pinterest. That must
yeah,
have been you. Tell me
that's
about
me.
that.
So anything like, let's say you're posting these podcasts on your website, if you're posting blogs, obviously, if you're doing new downloads, or if you have anything changing on your website and it has its own landing page, you want all of that to go on Pinterest. And
Ah.
you can create many, many, many pins for one thing. So like if I'm doing a blog, maybe there will be 50, 100 pins going to that one blog.
How is that possible?
Because you can do, it's not like, so Pinterest is a search engine, not a social media platform. So if you were to post 100 times about the same thing on Instagram, nobody's gonna care, right? Because they're tired of seeing the same stuff over and over. But on Pinterest, it doesn't show up like that. So it's more like people are searching for something and then you're gonna pop up. It's think of it more of like Google. So you can post the same thing over and over again, use different like keywords and stuff to kind of reach people at different times.
Hmm.
And it'll work more as like a search engine. It'll get traffic to your website. So even when I run ads, I'm always doing Pinterest for clients. If we have blogs, like it's almost a requirement.
Hmm.
Because I get over half of my organic traffic from Pinterest alone. Even when I'm running like Google Ads or something, I still get more traffic from Pinterest
Wow.
organically, than anything else that we do.
Hmm.
So always recommend that.
That's incredible to me. I haven't looked at, there was a time when I was really into Pinterest, because
Mhm.
you know, you can obsess over, 100 ways to cook over a fire on a camping trip, or 100 ways to organize your linen closet, which I would totally get into. But I kind of got somewhere along the way. I sort of fell off of that, and I haven't looked at it in a long time, and I haven't heard anybody talk about it in a long time.
Mhm.
So 100 pins, and y'all, pin is the word for post, right? For a graphic, whatever. From one blog post, are you taking one, take the title and just create 100 different graphics with the title on it, or
Yeah.
okay,
So you could make it, so I make it for myself as simple as possible. It's literally just a colored background, plain, no design with the blog text, the title text, and that's it.
huh?
So I'm making it super simple. I'll change out the different colors so that way it's not like 100 identical pins. There's a little variation.
Yeah.
Um, which again, like on Canva now, you can do all of that at one time. So you can bulk create all of this stuff. So again, it's like just a little extra lift. You're not like going crazy. You're on Pinterest.
Yeah.
I take the blog title and put that as my pin title, and then for the pin description, I'll take like various paragraphs from the blog and use that as the description. So it's not like the
Hmm.
Pinterest top strategy, but it is a way to do it simply and to get it out there, um, and still
Hmm.
get tons of traffic without like putting in hours of work.
That's interesting.
Mhm.
So your description, you just copy and paste a paragraph that goes with whatever the title was.
Yeah.
And that becomes a link back to the original, right, on your website.
Yeah, so every pin has a link option. So
Yeah. And you
you
always want
can,
to use that.
yeah.
Always. Yeah.
Mhm.
Huh. I'm going to go look up your Pinterest title, your Pinterest page.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I want to see how she does that. That's super interesting. Okay. What's another layer we should get into?
Hmm.
Y'all, I hope y'all who are listening, like, are you capturing how that there's a couple things that Berlyn is saying here that are important. One is that, yes, being online is important. It does make a difference, but it doesn't have to be crazy. It needs to be in alignment with your flow, your natural way of being present in the world. What comes easy to you in terms of how you like to express yourself and how your audience likes to consume. We talked about that already. But now what she's talking about is how you can make your life easier and get a wider impact. If you're going to go to the trouble to create something, do more with it. And I'll just put a little plug in, y'all. This would also be a really good job for a VA.
Mhm.
Like you could pay somebody, 5 or 10 hours a month probably to set
Mhm.
this up. If you wrote one piece of content at the beginning and once you figured out where you want it to go, a good VA could do this for you, I think. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. At least I think so. Berlin may tell me that's a mistake.
Yeah.
Depending upon how comfortable you are with identifying yourself what to do. If you're struggling, then you might need a marketing support like what you
Mhm.
do. All right. Am I right so far? Am I capturing this properly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah, I think the biggest thing to remember is just going slow with it because again, you are a solopreneur. You are even if you have a VA, like essentially, you're still a one-man show. So just doing what you feel comfortable with, finding the flow, and just forgetting all the marketing advice, which sounds silly for me to give marketing advice and say just forget it all. But just doing what you feel most called to, what you feel most comfortable with and aligned with, because consistency is really the most important thing. So just whatever you can do to be consistent with whatever it is that you choose.
Yeah, I wrote down consistency is king,
Hmm.
or maybe I'll say queen. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is true. Does it matter? Do I want to go here next? So we're talking about how to multi-purpose content.
Hmm.
That is a biggie. The next piece is like we talked already about the platform, where to show up. Let's talk about consistency. Let's talk about what are the best practices
Hmm.
that are being recommended nowadays. Fill me in on that. Yeah.
Okay, so like best practices or best tips on like how to stay consistent.
Or how often do I need to be present?
Mhm.
How often do I need to show up? How many times a day do I have to do this, etc.? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a really good question. Um, I like to say you're making yourself known at least once or twice a week. So if you are doing blogs and like email newsletters, maybe you're sending out one email a week and that's going with your blog or talking about your blog. If you're on social, if you can try to show up a couple times a week or even a couple more times on stories, so even just popping in on your stories, and just being present in any way that you can, like even if it's super low lift. So just like liking and engaging with people's content is important too. The thing is like as soon as you stop showing up online, people forget about you. And it's not like intentional, it's just that we are overloaded with content, and we just don't even realize. So
Yep.
actually the other day I had like a friend on Facebook who posted, was like, "Oh, I've been away for a whole year. Here's what's happened." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in a whole year." I didn't realize.
Forgot all about her.
Yeah, I forgot all about her. So, which is like weird, right? Because we don't like talk or hang out or whatever, but I like her. She's my friend. So, that was just a really good reminder that, okay, yeah, we have to stay present, because there's so much. If you're not going to be there, somebody else will be there.
It's
So
true.
make yourself known in some way.
It's true. Can you speak to, oh, well, first of all, let me just highlight, you just said twice a week is sort of a minimum, which that feels like quite a minimum to me. And I think that's good. I try to post something every day. And I have had times where I was doing 2 or 3 times a day at different points. I used to use a tool called Edgar.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's still around or not, actually, because I don't use it anymore. But it was a woman-owned business that where you could create a whole week's worth of content, and you could sort of plug it in, and it would. There's other ones like Buffer is one of these, and Hootsuite is one of these, but I've forgotten what it was. But Edgar was one where I could write it all at one time, and I could say I want this post to go live at 2 o'clock on Thursday, and I want that to go live at 8 o'clock on Friday, or whatever. So you could organize your stuff for a whole week. I'm not doing it that way now. I'm doing something else. But twice a week, I think consistency is the thing. Even if it doesn't matter how often it is, it matters that it is regular. It's not about
Mhm.
how frequency, it's about consistency. That's an important difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, if all you do is post every Sunday morning, then post every Sunday morning, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and using tools like that is super helpful. So, like you were mentioning a couple, I like to use Metricool. Later is
Oh,
a really popular one.
wait a
Um,
minute. Metricool and what's the other?
Later.
Later. I've never heard of that one either. Okay.
But yeah, find a tool. They're really all the same. So pick a price point that you like, honestly, and
Yeah.
they'll all do whatever you want them to do. But yeah, having like a tool to automate that is really helpful.
Yeah. So, y'all, you can literally sit down and create a week's worth of content or a month's worth of content at one time. So, if
Mhm.
you write that blog post, you could use some of the tools like I have not heard of, but I'm not using those tools right now. I've got a staff, I've got a team that helps
Mhm.
me with this. So, we have our own kind of internal way of doing things.
Mhm.
Um, but there are lots of apps out there where you can literally go in and just write your blog post and then sit down and figure out, okay, what are the clips I want to put here? What are the little
Mhm.
bits I want to do? You can plan it. Okay. Um, what's another layer? What else is Pinterest sounds like a real passion. Like that's one that's really making a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can talk more about Pinterest. I,
Do you want to talk about TikTok a little bit since that is sort of a thing? Um,
yeah, TikTok is really helpful. So as I mentioned, like we don't want to know how the algorithm works, but it'll get your content to who it needs to go to. So I guess the next layer would be you are researching platform specific content. So, okay, we've gotten everything broken down and like use that across all platforms. But if we want to dive deeper into one platform, let's like figure out what people are watching and searching for on this platform
yeah,
specifically.
yeah,
Um, and TikTok is a really good tool for that. So you can easily search, like type in your keyword into TikTok search, and you'll see tons of content related to that. And you'll also see, you know how on Google it says like people also search for, and
yeah,
then it gives you a list of other things. TikTok has the same thing. So you could scroll like forever just getting like content ideas through like the TikTok search and like using your keyword as a base and then just seeing what people are talking about, what's in the people also search for little boxes. And you can go forever. And that's how you can create more custom content to that platform. So, like for your audience, if they're searching for how to know if my therapist is right for me, and you're
yeah.
seeing content like that, like you can create video content specifically for that type of question or things that people are asking on that platform.
Hmm.
Mm. So once you have an idea of what people are searching for, then you're obviously going to create the video content around that and use your keywords in the video content itself. So just like we're talking, it's in our script. And then you also want to include those keywords in your caption. And then you also want to have like the closed captions on your video itself. So it's giving like the transcript of what you're saying because that includes those keywords as well.
Right. And people will watch it without the sound on too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's how you would dive deeper into like TikTok and creating like very specific things to what people are searching for on the platform and how to use those keywords and topics in your content.
So we've talked about how to take one piece of content and use it multi-purpose. Now you're talking about how to take one platform and dig a little deeper into that one platform, which is also a really good idea. Can you just in case, I don't want to assume that people know this. Can you talk a little bit about what's the difference between TikTok and Reels and Stories? Or is it
Yeah.
all the same thing, but just different companies? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So Instagram tries really hard, right? But we are not a fan. So TikTok, TikTok is really its own thing. And again, like we don't know how the algorithm works. It's so specific. And like that's what Instagram's really trying to get is like all of our attention back to them because TikTok can just literally read your mind. It knows what we want to see and it delivers it exactly to who it needs to be shown to. So, um, that's what TikTok is. It's more video, it's all video content essentially. And I would also like to say that it's not just for like literally anybody, all ages, all types of people are on TikTok. So if you offer a service, if you have a product, be on TikTok, like you will find your audience. So don't think it's like, oh, I don't belong there. Like everybody belongs there. Instagram Reels is like wants to be TikTok, but their algorithm just really isn't quite as good. So you aren't really going to be fed the type of content. So I always recommend like taking your TikTok reels and taking your TikToks and putting them on reels, like multi-use that content, of
Hmm.
course. But it might not have the same reach as it does on TikTok.
Okay.
But if you're already making it somewhere, put it somewhere else, you know?
Okay. Does that
Store,
apply to Facebook stories too? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
stories is different. So essentially only your followers are going to see your stories. And that can have its own strategy. So you really don't need to be as in depth there. It's really more about like creating deeper connections. So it's more behind the scenes. It's more on,
Mm.
it's not like a certain production level that maybe you may have on your video content. It's really just like picking up the camera, talking, whatever. Here's what I ate for lunch, whatever. It's just like building a deeper connection.
Okay.
Going back to like the nurturing piece that we were
Yeah.
talking about at the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah. Well, that's perfect because that takes me where I wanted to go next, which is how how can we be more real on
Hmm.
social media?
Yeah,
Because
I love.
I think that's what people resist. I think we resist it partly because we're all introverts and we don't want to put ourselves out there, and we it feels braggy. You know,
Mhm.
rather talk about other people or our clients or whatever, which we can't do. But like we're not used to putting ourselves first, which is kind of what that feels like. Although I like to change that. But I
Mhm.
also feel like it feels fakey and salesy. So how can we show up on social media, however we do it, in all the ways we're talking about today, and do it
Mhm.
in a way that feels more real and in alignment with who we are as human beings?
Mhm. Yeah, I love that question. I think it's really important and really it goes back to like the content that you like to do. So you're gonna come off in your most authentic way when you choose a medium that you like to do the most.
Hmm.
So like you were saying, you were creating YouTube videos and the energy wasn't there. So it probably was
Hmm.
not your most authentic self. But
Hmm.
here you can come on your podcasts and it's easy for you and it feels natural. So I'm sure your personality is coming out a lot more here than it was on your channel. So really finding that and getting into that flow, and it'll just start to come out. So it's really just trusting the process and just knowing to like, okay, it's okay for me to be vulnerable here. It's okay for me to be myself and set your boundaries as well. So what do I want to share? What do I not want to share?
Yeah.
And things that you do want to share, like go all in with it. Just
Yes.
a safe space. You can block whoever you want to block. I recommend that. If you're like, oh, what if my friend sees this? That's weird. Then just block them. That's okay. Just create like a safe space for yourself. And
That's a bit of a paradox when you're creating a safe space for yourself to be wide open public, you
yeah,
know? Yeah.
for some reason it feels easier to do things in front of strangers than people you know. So
That's
that's why I
true.
always recommend like, okay, I
Hmm.
don't want my mom to see this, so I'll block her.
Yeah, or at least temporarily, maybe,
Yeah,
or from that particular platform. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I do know my son has a TikTok channel that he has not shared with me. I do
Yeah.
know that.
That's right. Well, the thing is, if you get on TikTok,
That's
his
funny.
videos will probably pop up for you.
It's so funny. It's really funny. I get such a kick out of that.
Hmm.
It's where he's being his dorky, silly self. That's what it is. I know exactly what it is, but it's fine. Um, I would add to that I think I want to add to that, you don't have to be perfect.
Hmm.
And I think actually people will relate to you more the more real you are, the more imperfect you are. Like, so, which I want to speak to just for a second. A coach that I used to work with for a long time said, being real is important. Being authentic is important. You do not have to be perfect. And you don't get out there and spill all your stuff on stage. She would say, your backstage doesn't need to be your front stage. There is a difference. She was a
Hmm.
performer. So I like figuring out where that line is important, you know? When is it appropriate to share something personal and when is it not? How casual can I be and when do I need to be a little bit more professional?
Hmm.
Like it does take a certain amount of discernment, I think, in terms of in that.
Hmm.
I had a therapist that I interviewed about this kind of stuff a while back. She said that the way she thinks about that, what to share, is to share from a place of a scar, not from a wound,
Hmm.
which I thought was a brilliant way of saying it. In other words, if you're sharing something that this is what I've been through or this is what I've done, but it's
Hmm.
behind me and here's how I've made it, like that's one place. But if you're sharing like, my house is a mess and my kids are crazy and like you don't necessarily need to share that. Like there's a time and a place. I just recently posted one of my most recent episodes as we are recording this. One of my most recent episodes, I posted, I did a solo episode about various energy tools that I use. And I talked about things like tarot and I don't know, an angel or two and a few other things. And I'm like, this is not normally what you would hear on a podcast about how to run a private practice, but it was a part of who I am. So, I want to be real with people. And I also kind of think it's important in my world. It is. So I wanted to share that. That was kind of out there. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's all about being real.
Yeah. I love that. I'm glad that you felt comfortable, like kind of maybe this isn't totally on my theme, but it is about me. And so I think that's really cool. And it helps when you are more comfortable sharing, it helps other people feel more comfortable sharing. And I think when we get in alignment, we get out of other
Yes.
people's way and then we can all be in alignment. Um,
Mm,
and I think also too that like kind of back to being consistent and all of that stuff, we have to be consistent because people don't remember. So it doesn't matter what
yes.
we post, it can be embarrassing. People aren't gonna remember because we're so inundated again with content all the time that it's okay if something's a little weird, people aren't gonna remember.
It is
So just
so
do it.
true. You can post the same thing every 3 months and people will act like it's brand new. That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
So that's another trick too. You can also just repost stuff
Yeah.
it is really, really true. Um, the, one of the things I learned from that coach actually, because I saw her do it, was you could take the exact same blog post or podcast episode and repost it either as an archive, like bringing back
Mhm.
the favorites, and you can say, this is from our archives. We wanted to reshare it with you today, which is a good thing to do if you're like on vacation. I have done that a few times when I just did not have the bandwidth to produce for some reason. But when I was doing my blog, I would sometimes post the exact same blog with a different title and a different photograph at the top because I saw my coach do that. Because I read something one day, I thought, I could swear I've read this before. And I went and found it. And sure enough, identical articles. All she changed was the title and the picture. I'm like, that's brilliant.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's good. Bro, this is super helpful. Thank you. You've really gone into some detail with this, which I really appreciate. That's great. I'm making a list to talk to my team about. I think your point about go slow is a good one because when I think about all these different things you can do, I myself get a little overwhelmed with it. I'm like, I know I could be doing all that, but I can only do so much. So add those layers a little bit at a time when you're ready. That's good. That's really good. Thank you. So how can people learn more about you? Where do they learn about planted marketing and about the greenhouse?
Yeah, so plantedmarketing.com is everything will be there. You can find my social links at the bottom as well, but I'm Planted Marketing everywhere online. And then yeah, if you have any questions, you can always message me. I'm really active on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. I am active on all the things, so feel free to reach out wherever you want.
Wherever you find me.
Yeah, and I'm happy to help with, if you want to learn more about the greenhouse, if it's a good fit for you, we can chat about it. And there's a 7-day free trial as well, so you can always pop in and see if it's aligned
See what it's
with
like.
you.
Yeah.
And I share tons of stuff just like we talked about today. So, and I can make it custom to you as well. So,
Yeah. And if somebody just had a specific question, like a technical question or a best practices question, it's okay for them to send you a DM. Like, are you happy to help them a little bit there? Okay, good. That'd be great. Because some folks, their head may be buzzing a little bit and they may be like, wait a minute, what was that part you said? Can you just help me understand that? That's fine. That's fine too.
Yeah,
good. Great.
sure.
We will link to Planted Marketing in the show notes below. And make sure that you know exactly kind of where to get started with all that. Go check her out, y'all. And like I said at the beginning, go look at her LinkedIn page, which I actually don't do that much on LinkedIn because it kind of irritates me. But I looked at yours and I'm like, oh, this is like, just as I was reading, this is funny, Berlyn. And this is an example, y'all. When your marketing is solid and your messaging is in alignment with who you are and it flows from a place of ease and truth, people will receive it that way and feel that way about it. It's not forced. It's not contrived. It's real. And it's fascinating to me how much easier it is when that's the case. So when I went and read just the very first post you had there, I was like, I could feel my shoulders kind of going, oh, yeah. Like, because you were talking about in that post that I was referencing, branding, marketing. It's not about it's not grabby energy. It's not pushy. It's not, here, let me sell you something. Don't you know you need this? It is, here's who I am. Here's what I'm about. Here's what I care about. Here's what I stand for. And here's how I can help. And if I'm a good fit for you, I'd love to talk to you. It's an invitation. It's an invitation to connect that comes from a genuine place, that is unique to you. Yeah, we could talk about, that's a conversation over many episodes right there. But your posts, that's what it brought home to me, was how important that was. And I really want people to go see what you had to say because I thought it was really good. And you don't know me, but I'm not saying, I wouldn't be saying that if I didn't think it was true. Because I don't say it unless I mean it. So, all right. One last question. I always love to close by asking folks, is there anything that I have not asked you, anything we haven't talked about or we failed to cover, or just anything that you just feel called to share that you feel like would make this conversation complete?
Honestly, no, I feel like we really went through it all. I feel good.
Well, I'll take that. Okay.
Yeah, I feel good.
Okay, great. I have enjoyed how many times today you've said, that's a really good question. I love that. Well, thank you, Berlyn, for being here with us today and for giving us your time. I had forgotten you were in California. I had you in New York. I'm really glad I asked. That's funny. You moved in my mind all the way across the country. Yeah. Well, thank you for this. I think it's going to be really, really helpful to people. If folks have if you are interested in digging into this stuff, clearly she knows what she's talking about. Listen to this again, take some notes, and go look her up and figure this stuff out for yourself. It'll help your practice. Yeah. Okay. All right, my friends. So with that, I will let you guys go so that you can go start doing your homework. I hope this has been helpful to you, and I will look forward to seeing you here again, right back here at the Ideal Practice Podcast next week, same time, same station. See you then. Take care, everybody. Bye now. Hey, y'all. If this program has become important to you, if Ideal Practice matters, it would mean so much to me if you'd be willing to take just a minute to do one or two of the following things. First of all, would you follow or subscribe to the show here at Ideal Practice? Following me helps you because you'll never miss an episode, but it helps me as well for all kinds of reasons. To do that, all you have to do is go to the show page for Ideal Practice on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. There, just click on the plus sign that you'll usually find in the top right-hand corner, or click on the word follow that you're going to find somewhere there on that page. Of all the things, this really is the most important thing you can do for the podcast itself. While you're there, it would be extra special if you would be willing to give me a 5-star rating, and even better than that, a review with your own words. Your words matter. And when you write what you feel, what you think, you uplift and encourage others. And I love that. If you want to go a step further than that, take your favorite episode or two, one of the ones that has meant a lot to you, and share it with a friend. Could you do one or two of those things for me? I promise I will love you forever. You guys matter to me, and I value your support more than I can possibly say. Thank you, sweet friend, for anything you can do to help me out and support the show. I'll see you again soon.